everyone, I'm Laura Gale Locke. On this edition of Local Loop, we're going to tell you all about a really exciting project called the Home Improvement Project, and it's designed to help deteriorating homes in our area. It's all being made possible through a partnership with the city and the Wichita Area Association of Realtors. We're very happy to have three guests here with us today. Seated next to me is Vice Mayor Janet Miller.
Hi.
We have Joel Y., who is a member of the Community Involvement Committee, and then also Deb Legg, who serves in our Office of Central Inspection. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
Well, first, why don't you guys start off just telling me a little bit about the Home Improvement Project?
Well, how it got started was there's a thing here in town called environmental court. And when people's properties begin to get run down or filled with limbs or trash or they need paint or whatever, the Office of Central Inspection, OCI, they'll go out and they'll tell them that, you know, we need you to pick up your property to clean it up. And then if they don't, then they get ticketed. And if they don't pay their ticket, and I think this is how it works, if I'm wrong, let me know, but then they go to environmental court.
Right. Actually, it's not a payable fine. They do have to appear in court.
Okay. Well, they go to environmental court. Environmental court is held at police substations, right?
Recently, we've moved it, probably in the last year. It's now at Hyde Park.
Okay.
It's a rec center, belongs to the park department. So, yeah, we've changed that a bit.
Well, I went to one of those environmental courts because I'm kind of a property rights advocate, and we'd heard rumors about it and what went on there. And we saw people went in there and they went in front of the judge, and the judge, you know, told them to clean your property up. But we saw a bunch of people that were either through disabilities or financial hardship or whatever that weren't able to do the required work on their properties. I mean, veterans, people in wheelchairs, people with disabilities. And we thought that was kind of a bad deal. So we tried to come up with a way for a couple of years to help those people instead of just complaining about it, you know, to actually get out in the community and help them. And nothing ever came of it. And I told everybody I knew or anybody that would listen, I talked to it about, because it was kind of a pet project for me. But I told my broker about it, Greg Fox, who has a reputation for getting things done, and he brought it in front of the Community Involvement Committee at the Wichita Association of Realtors, and here we are.
Well, maybe Vice Mayor, you could tell me a little bit more about the need and what you've seen in the community.
Well, I think Joel has really hit it on the head when he said that there are people who end up in environmental court who, for a variety of reasons, whether that's physical disability or age or income, simply are not able to maintain their properties up to code. We all have that responsibility, but not all of us are able, or sometimes we reach a point in our lives where we're not able to keep our properties up to code. And I know I and other council members have been unsure about how to handle that dilemma. On the one hand, we have constituents who are very concerned about living next to a property that is slowly deteriorating and becoming a blighted area, because that seems to spread in a neighborhood.
Indeed.
But yet, we also understand that we don't all have the capacity to maintain or do the repairs on our own property. Now, we're not talking about rental property here, we're talking about owner-occupied structures. And so it's been a concern to us as well, because you can keep, you know, fining someone and you can keep taking them to court, but if they don't have the capacity or the resources to solve the problem, it just is a dilemma. And so when my colleagues and I heard about what Joel was proposing, the Wichita Area Association of Realtors was proposing through their Community Involvement Committee, and that they had been in contact with the Office of Central Inspection, we were very enthusiastic, because it just seemed like a win-win situation where if we had, we being the city, the Office of Central Inspection, had a way to, you know, identify these individuals who we realized were not, they're not making a choice to ignore the code and not respond. They're just simply not able for one reason or another. If we could help identify those, and then if we had a volunteer group who had the capacity and resources to assist that individual, either solely or in conjunction with that person or maybe that person's family, that it would really be a win-win situation. And so we were very excited about that.
It does seem like a great answer to a problem that I could see would be ongoing for those people who just aren't able to take care of their homes.
Exactly.
Deb, could you maybe walk us through a little bit about how this process actually works with your department?
Okay. Either the inspector is in a position where they've worked a case to the point that there's nothing else to do but to take it to court, or they're already found themselves in court with a citizen in this sort of situation where they're, you know, elderly or disabled. And a lot of times the inspectors haven't met the property owner before they show up in court, and you know, it can be a surprise to them to come to court and somebody comes in on a walker in a wheelchair, or, you know, is obviously not in position to make the repairs. So when they get to the point they're either imminently going to court or they're in the court system, the inspectors let me know the property owner, their name, sort of their situation, what kinds of issues they have that need to be addressed, so that I can look at those and compare those to what Wichita Area Association of Realtors has said they have the capacity at this time to do. And if they fit the criteria, then I send that on to Tara at the Wichita Area Association of Realtors. And then she sends it to the committee, and they make a decision whether or not that's a property that they can do. And then we let the court know. Either we hold off on issuing a citation, or we let the court know that there's a group that's working to make the repairs.
And why don't we pause for a moment and hear more from the board president of the Wichita Area Association of Realtors to hear more about why they got involved. Wichita Area Association of Realtors President Bud Kortner says the home improvement project is a great way to give back to the community.
We really feel like helping homeowners get back to where they have pride in their homes and they're really looking good again is a contribution both to the communities and the neighborhoods that they're in. It really helps. Everybody wins on that thing. It's a win-win all the way around.
WAR initiated the project 2 years ago after concerns were raised in environmental court.
And part of what we have found in this project is we've become aware of homeowners that have code violations and did not have the ability to either physically or potentially financially to correct those code violations.
WAR helped bring about a solution by recruiting volunteers to paint houses, repair decks and siding, and remove trash and overgrown weeds, along with many other projects. Homeowners are very grateful for the help.
I enjoy everything I'm getting done. I appreciate it.
Calvin Vick is unable to maintain his property the way he would like. He's worried that someone could get hurt on his deck.
So I haven't been able to go outside, and I have to leave and go to the VA and all that. And man, I was just so worried about it. If anybody would head over here and would hit one of the bad spots, you know, they would fall or anything or get hurt. So I'm glad that they're doing this. Really am.
Kortner thinks the realtors have responded well and believes the program will continue to grow.
They are enjoying it and they are encouraging others to get involved. I think over a period of time it's going to grow to a pretty good size group that will contribute.
Well, obviously you guys are very lucky to have the Wichita Area Association of Realtors helping. Now, are the realtors only the people who are doing this volunteer work, or do you have others helping as well?
Well, we've been sending emails for volunteers out to all our affiliate members, and that's a lot of banks too. So like the last project we did last week, we had a few lenders out there working with us out of their suits and in their work clothes, getting all dirty. And
that would have been
painting.
fun to see.
It was
I
fun
should
to
have
see.
been there.
They're actually out there sweating, and it's kind of fun too. I mean, it's just a short 3 or 4 hours we take for the small projects. Some of the bigger ones take longer, but you know, you get out there, you get dirty, you're hanging out with your friends, you're doing good, something good for the community, so you can feel good about yourself. The people that we do it for, they're so appreciative. I mean, sometimes, you know, you see tears in their eyes, and because it's such a small niche that needs help, and they're just so unused to having people actually come out and do things for them. So yeah, it's we like it, but we'll take anybody we can to get out there to help us. Anybody who wants to volunteer is welcome.
And who would they need to contact if they want to volunteer?
That would be Tara with the Association of Realtors. She's our point person. She takes care of all our emails and looking for our volunteers for us, and she sends us the the properties that Deb sends to us for us to vet and see, who qualifies and like that.
You mentioned that people have had, tears. They've been so touched. What other types of feedback are all of you receiving from people who benefited?
Well, the day I was out on the project, the first one, the homeowner did come out and talked about how grateful he was to have the assistance. I think his situation was that there'd been some disabilities and illness in the family that they were working to overcome, and a situation where they had some problems that built up and they just weren't able to tackle them all themselves. And he was out helping that day, and very appreciative of the assistance. So that was my one experience, and it was very positive.
I can tell you that the inspectors are really glad to have something like this to point people to. When I first sent out the email explaining the program and asking for possible candidates, I was inundated. Some of them were, some of the scope of work was just, far beyond what I knew that the group was ready to take on at this point. But they're very excited about that opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about that. What are you guys able to do for people?
Well, the projects we've done so far, and mostly what we're sticking to at this point, is like trash, limbs in the yard, overgrown weeds, trees growing up through fences. We've done some painting. This next project coming up in a couple of weeks, this is our biggest one yet. We're going to be doing a bunch of siding and painting, and I think we're even going to be rebuilding a deck and a wheelchair ramp. That's a big one. But as time goes on, we're getting more and more people involved and more help, and we're able to take on bigger and bigger projects. Like the one she was just talking about, this guy, they were financially strapped, and he couldn't afford a dumpster, a trash company. So he'd been putting all his trash in his backyard for who knows how long. You remember that? Mm-hmm. And it was just, we hauled trash off for 4 hours back and forth to the dump from his. The one we did last week, we painted. We painted practically their entire house just with a bunch of us and brushes and some donated paint. We have, like this last one, a friend of mine, Craig Gable, gave us 8 gallons of paint that we used to paint it with. So.
Well, that brings up a really good point on that first one. They were loading up all this trash into pickup trucks and on trailers, and we asked, well, where is this going? Obviously it was going somewhere, and they said it was going to the dump, and we said, well, who's paying for it? And the volunteers were opening their wallets and paying for the material to be taken to the landfill, to the transfer station. And so I think that's another issue that it would be relevant to bring up, is that I would suspect there is room for financial donations or in-kind donations, so that volunteers are not always footing that kind of bill.
In-kind donations, maybe. The money aspect of it, I'm not sure how all that works out with 501s this and O's that and all that. And I'm not sure we're allowed to take actual money, but if the county wants to talk to the dump to letting us go in there for free, that'd be cool.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But yeah, that's a good point. Getting things donated to us supply-wise is a big help, because there's a big difference between a $15 dump fee and a $200 5-gallon bucket of paint. Mm-hmm. And I certainly don't want to be shelling out that $200 every time.
Yes, right.
Well, as we talk about future partnerships, let's go ahead and bring in our next guest. And we're very pleased to have Councilmember Levanta Williams joining us now. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Well, why don't you first just tell us a little bit about your experiences with a home improvement project?
Well, it was probably one of their first projects, and it was the same one that Janet and I both received information pertaining to this project. So that was very important for me to go out and see what was going on in the community, because I think all of us feel whatever is going on in the community, we should be involved in, and no matter what district it's in. And so I wanted to go and see how I could help, how I could participate. And I was just so pleasantly surprised when I got there, and the group was there just making adjustments and making sure that they were trying to help another person out, because for me it was like a neighbor helping a neighbor. and the trash that was being taken out, and involving family members. I think we had some family members there that were there volunteering. So to see young people, young children coming out to help volunteer, the only thing I would have wanted was for them to wear hard-soled shoes or tennis shoes or something, and I would definitely say that for those that are going out to volunteer, because you never know what type of situation you're going to find yourself in. So that was very important, but I found it to be such a rewarding opportunity to be there, and I think anybody would, because it's like a handout, and it's a hand up instead of a handout for me.
So from our discussion earlier, it sounds like some of the main needs are getting like the in-kind donations, like you mentioned, the paint. Is there other examples you'd like to give to kind of spark people's imaginations on what they could do?
Oh, volunteers. If you just come out and help us, there's a lot of cutting limbs, picking up trash, weeding yards, painting, and we don't have sprayers and all that. We just do it by hand. But if I can point on something that Levanta said about neighbor helping neighbor, that's what this program and lots of other programs like Habitat for Humanity and many, many, many more. It's about neighbors helping neighbors, citizens helping citizens, people chipping in and working together. And instead of just complaining about the way the world works or what's going on in the world, is to actually get out there and do something about it, and then you can actually make it a better place. And that's what we're trying to do here, and that's what the city and Deb with OTI and we're all trying to do together, just make it a better place to be.
Very good.
And I think the volunteers will grow once the word is out of what you're doing. We do have other opportunities, maybe that happen once a year or maybe twice a year, where we have neighbors helping neighbors. But this one, to me, was just one that they're going to the Office of Central Inspection and saying, okay, who's next? Who else can we help? Instead of, well, we'll put you on the list for next year. We appreciate all the help that we get within the community. It's very much needed. And so this is another opportunity, and we're very appreciative of what they're doing.
Now, how long has the home improvement project been in place?
Oh, not very long. We've only been probably just for, when did you guys come out? Do you remember? A month? 3 months
June,
ago?
maybe?
Yeah, just since June. That was our first project. We've done 4 since then. We have 3 on the books now. Eventually, we'd like to get it running like a really nice, smooth, oiled machine and doing, possibly 1 or 2 a week or as many as we possibly can. But it's that volunteer base. It's attracting those volunteers is what we need to work on the most.
What I kind of think is neat about this volunteer opportunity, some people like to volunteer in different ways, and some people are looking for volunteer opportunities where they go back, either once a month or they go back, once a week. This volunteer opportunity seems like it presents, people can work on more than one, but if they want to just come out and work for one day, they get to see the whole thing from start to finish. It's all done. There's a sense of completion and accomplishment, and you don't necessarily have to make a huge time commitment. It's just really a neat opportunity, and my guess is once somebody participates once, they might be kind of hooked and want to come back for other opportunities.
It's like a drug. It makes you feel so good that you want to do it again.
And you do have many people looking for an opportunity to help, and they're just saying, how can I help? What can I do? So this gives people an opportunity to say, that's what I can do. So I think that it just opens up another opportunity world for people to be involved.
And so how do you guys see this project evolving as it moves forward?
Well, right now, with the Wichita Association of Realtors, we have realtors coming out and lenders, like I said. Eventually, we'd like to attract even more volunteers. And the realtors can volunteer more than once if they want to, and tell them that it's nice to get out there and help, and it does make you feel good. We would like it to evolve where we have more partners, more affiliate partners, more people donating supplies to us, more people sending out volunteers from their companies, and just so we can do more and more, as many as we possibly can. Of course, it'd be a dream to eradicate that need. But
yes, wouldn't that be a nice thing? But
we'll
are you saying no need for environmental court?
That would be nice.
That would be great.
Save taxpayer money, help people, but
That would be great.
we'll do our best.
Well, and we should probably touch on that a little bit about how it does impact the whole image of our community.
It does. Environmental court, no one wants to go to environmental court. As Vice Mayor said, there's so many situations and circumstances that put them in that position. And so along comes an opportunity for someone to be able to reach out and say, well, this will help me get out of that situation, and possibly then they want to help somebody else. They want to help the next person. And I think that's the way many of them feel. You have helped me, now it should be my turn to help someone else somewhere down the line.
Mm-hmm. Pay it forward.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Anything else you guys would like to add or you would like people to know?
It's very exciting. We're very glad to be doing it. We're happy for all the help. We're happy for you helping us to get the word out. We're very excited when the council stopped by and gave us a little push that made us feel good, and we're going forward.
We'll look forward to the next one.
Absolutely, and I think we want to thank all of those that are involved in making this happen. We thank you so
Definitely.
much.
All right, well, thank you guys for being here. And thank you for watching this edition of Local Loop.